The modern method of sale is another way to get sales through quicker. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I guess the one thing we haven't talked about much in our conversations today is about preloading. And, if you look at what we're working on, it's around one of the best chances of getting a sale to complete and to complete quickly is to do a lot of the hard work before it's sale agreed. So, a key element of modern method is that you've got people bidding under auction conditions, but the property's prepared to sale in what would be considered auction conditions. So the auction pack's prepared, it's created, it's in the public domain for people to view. So that material information is out there and it's up front. And, at the point where the hammer falls, the property's much more ready to sell. Therefore, 56 days in terms of completion timeframe versus industry averages, which you've talked about earlier, is not particularly hard to achieve. There are circumstances where it is a little bit harder, but in general, that 56 days is realistic. So I think, a lot of it is not necessarily about the conveyancing. It's about the fact that so much of that work was done beforehand.
I mean, could that be done? That could be done with any properties, though, couldn't it? Actually preparing the contract in advance.
Yeah, it can also be done with people. I think, we talked about digital onboarding, and I think digital onboarding has an element where it's about ID, AML, and meeting regulatory obligations. But there's another element which is about getting people legally prepared to sell, getting solicitors structured at the point when they go to market, so that those solicitors are starting to prepare contracts, they're ordering searches, vendors paying for the buyer searches to be ordered at the point where they go to market, and recovering the cost down the line. All of those things help to speed up that end completion date. And I think, one thing that's been sort of evident to me in this conversation is that the estate agency journey from sale to completion is still quite loose unless you deliberately bring something in to assist that process. Gazumping, gazundering is still legitimate. It might not be considered good or appropriate, but it's still there. And there are those customers that are quite simply highest possible price, and I don't care what it takes. Get me a new deal on exchange day if you need to. But I do think that the agency, the industry should be moving towards saying, going on the market means this. It means doing all these things as early as we possibly can. And buying a property means this, doing all these things as early as we possibly can, because that will help.
How does modern method affect when we're in a chain? And then, if you could briefly answer that one.
It makes it more complex, but it's not beyond the realm of possibility. It does make it more complex to do it, because obviously you've got the variety within that chain, and also the impetus if there's parts of that chain that are really quite relaxed about it, or parts of that chain that are going to struggle. So yeah, it's something that our auction specialists nail down pretty quick to find out whether it's actually going to delay the capacity to achieve against modern method. And if you look at modern method, it's a vendor option, not a property option. And so the vendor is saying, my wishes are, or our wishes are, that we have a secure transactional journey, and that moves at speed, and there are choices we will make in order to gain those.
So it's not appropriate for every property, it's appropriate for some properties, and it's vendor specific, not necessarily buyer specific. Thank you for that.